Hey guys, it's July 2025. Happy 4th of July for the people that I live in America, and if you didn't get to celebrate it, I'm sorry you missed it. It's in the future and it happened and fireworks happened. But yeah, we're going to talk about gear and what I've been using and what I'm currently using as far as FPV gear is concerned. So anything from an analog FPV rig to a digital FPV rig to a long range rig. Am I running digital? Which digital system am I running? What bags am I using? What batteries am I using? What cameras am I using? We're going to go over all that in the video today. So let's just go ahead and get started. If you hear me say something that I don't completely fully elaborate on, or there's a question you have, you can always put it in the comment section below and I will do my best to try to answer your questions. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. So the bag right here is going to be my ETHiX FPV bag. Yeah, the only thing I left in the bag that I didn't take out and throw on the table over there is my spare parts situation. So that's just like spare motors and ESCs and props, or not props, but I don't know, like random things. I have some sticky tack in there so that I can get stuff out of motors if I need to. This is like the bomber thing that I bring with me everywhere I go in case something breaks. Usually those are the things that break, maybe top plates on an Apex. Anyways, I can go into that in more detail in another video if you are actually that curious, but we'll go ahead and get into some other stuff. So the next bag would be the full-size chassis, the ETHiX chesty. This one is for like when I'm on set and I want to carry some extra batteries, maybe some ND filters in here, maybe some spare props, and I don't know, even I've actually carried extra drones with me with this bag before. So it just really depends on the scenario and what I'm doing that day. But yeah, when I'm on set, I'm usually carrying something like this so that I don't have to wheel around this bag and I can be kind of mobile. I'm sure you guys have seen that before, and if you haven't, then you can check out I have an ETHiX chesty video on my YouTube channel. Now, as far as like my full-on rig stuff, we're going to talk about that right now. But I do want to go over this, which is like my everyday carry bag. Not like EDC as in like I don't carry a weapon in this or anything, but this is kind of my everyday carry. I used to carry this kind of colorful satchel thing around, and I've since switched to this as my everyday carry for like my wallet and whatnot. And I carry an Osmo Action or an Osmo 3 in here, and like my car keys and microphones and my wallet and like lights and whatnot. So yeah, this is kind of my everyday bag, and this is the new ETHiX mini chesty, which I will end up doing a video fully on. But yeah, this is my, like, again, everyday bag. Now, as far as the FPV specific stuff, we're gonna go over props really quick. So I have these prop bags, and I generally kind of base what kind of props I'm gonna bring on where I'm going. So if I'm going to somewhere that's like high elevation or something like that, then I may throw some higher pitch props in there. But for the most part, I carry these props because I do fly like lightweight 5-inch drones. And again, I have some Mango Lossies in here, which are an HQ prop ETHiX collaboration. And then I have some Radberries, which are, again, these are all slightly variable pitch versions of a 5.1-inch prop. So, and then I carry my peanut butter and jelly, which is kind of my go-to prop that I've always really liked for my lightweight freestyle stuff. So that's the prop situation that I use. As far as the drone situation, we'll go into kind of detail on this one specifically because this is the one that's like my hardcore analog style FPV drone. And I know so many people ask questions like, what ESCs, what motors, what prop, like all this stuff. So this aircraft is an Apex standard, like Mr. Steele lightweight version. It's got a Unify 5-volt video transmitter on 5.8 gigahertz. It's got a Unify Pro, a Triumph Pro antenna on the back there, and I'm running tracer on this particular aircraft with diversity setup. So I've got 2 antennas. And then as far as motors and props, this is a V6 prototype Mr. Steele motor that will be coming out very shortly, and I'm running these peanut butter and jelly props on here. And someone just ripped by on a motorcycle. So I always run props in. Just always have felt no reason to ever change it, so that's just kind of a standard thing from a decade of use. Props in always. As far as the camera goes, I'm running a Mr. Steele actually it's a Swift 2 from RunCam, which is kind of no longer available, so I'm sorry, but it's a CCD camera with a GoPro lens on it, 2.5 millimeter. As far as the HD camera, I'm running an Action 2 from DJI. The reason I like it is because it's super small and it's super lightweight, 47 grams. And I carry 2 of them because you got to switch it out every couple flights because the battery doesn't last that long, and also the memory, if you're shooting in 4K, it doesn't last that long because it only has 32 gigabytes of internal storage. So as far as the flight controller and ESC situation, I have always run something like either a KISS ESC 25 amp, or in the next generation I ran a FETTech 45 amp ESC. There was a moment where I was running FETTech 65 amp ESCs, but they never really did, it never felt right, so I went back to the FETTech 45 amp ESCs. And then there was a time where I was running FETTech FCs, well, this one's a KISS FC, which I'll explain in a second, but there was a time where I was running KISS flight controller firmware from a long time ago on the FETTech FCs. And then I started running the newer alpha stuff from FETTech, and ultimately I was kind of testing that forever, trying to get it right with Felix, and just waiting for new versions to come out to try them out. And I never felt like 100% confident with it, where there was always something that I was a little like, yeah, it feels really, really good, but this happens in this certain situation, and it's not something that I can really get around. Like maybe it washes out and it's not a tuning problem. So anyways, long story short, I don't really know what FETTech's doing anymore. Honestly, I don't know what any of my sponsors are doing anymore. The only ones that I even am in contact with are HQ Prop and TBS. So Thunder Power, freaking, I don't even know who else. What, FETTech, Impulse RC, RunCam, like all these companies, I don't deal with them at all. So yeah, the only companies that I'm actually dealing with these days are ETHiX, which is, again, my company, if you're not familiar with that, and then TBS, which is affiliated with ETHiX in many ways. And then yeah, HQ Zong he's been there since day one. He's an awesome guy, and he listens and does what I ask for, like products, because a lot of these other companies just want you to put your name on something and they don't let you really test it too much. They're just like, here you go, whatever. So anyways, long story short, sponsorship's kind of just out the window, and I'm doing what I enjoy now. So that's what I will get to in a moment when I talk about the FCs and flight controllers and well, FCs and ESCs and stuff, and the firmware that I'm using. So as far as this aircraft is concerned, it has a KISS ESC on it. Sorry, a KISS FC, and it's got a FETTech 45 amp ESC. And yeah, I'm running an old school KISS firmware on there, and just a tune from maybe 6 years ago. Love it. Flies great. As far as the goggles, I'm running HD O2s with a fusion module and the ETHiX antennas here. I got the patch and the omnidirectional. We've got this power play that Bot Grinder gave me. It helps me record record my DVR at 60 FPS, so it's easier to sync up with this camera, because if you shoot internally in here on DVR, it's 24 frames. This is 30. You try to sync it together and it's too slow, and it's kind of annoying. You got to cut and scrape and try to get it back together. I carry 2 of these, like I said, because of the battery and the size of the amount of storage you have on there. I do run a lens protector on all of these, front and back. The backs usually blow out, and then the fronts are like indestructible. This one is pretty indestructible, and this is the one that's out of focus. If you saw my last video, there was like a close focus. This thing just hit the ground so hard at one point that it's shifted the lens and is now slightly out of focus, which I think looks kind of cool. As far as like HD cameras overall, I like the Action 5 a lot these days. This is a GoPro 12. The battery life on these things is terrible. They're not very durable. They are fairly durable. This one's hit the concrete a few times, and this one's hit the concrete a few times. They still work. The battery life is really the main thing that I don't like, and I don't really want to switch to the 13 because I don't want to buy new batteries, because who knows if they're going to change the battery size again this year for the 20 or for the GoPro 14. So anyways, I like this. I buy it at Best Buy, you know, get a warranty on it, and just send it. As far as my controller, I am running an ETHiX Mambo here with Crossfire in the back, and yeah, I run the internal tracer module for my analog drones and some of my digital drones, and I run the Crossfire stuff for some of the longer range stuff. And if I want to be a little more confident, maybe flying somewhere where I know that the RF situation is a little sketchier, then I will switch to Crossfire. As far as the gimbals, I'm running some metal gimbals that Trappy gave me. There was no reason to really switch them out other than they're metal, and I got them for free, so put them in there. As far as the aircraft for my digital setup is concerned, let's go over these two at least. This is kind of like a job drone specifically, so it's got V5s on it, a little more powerful. I run a GoPro on here. This is an Evo frame from Impulse RC. I'm running a diversity tracer on here, so we got 2 different, you know, antennas, one vertically polarized and one horizontally polarized here in the back. I'm running O4 with the original antennas and this kind of funky mount from Brain 3D. And yeah, yeah, I'm running some Mango Lassi props on here with a little bit bigger 5.1 pitch prop, or 5.1 inch prop with a slightly more pitch than a PB&J. And then I'm running a FetTech 45 amp ESC and an F7 flight controller, which is also a FetTech flight controller. And that is also running KISS firmware from forever ago. I want to say it's like 48G, which is the only one that you can run that's like on a FetTech flight controller, because they ended up splitting at some point. And if you run the old school, this is like from 5 years ago, from KISS GUI, and you can flash the old school stuff with the MPU 6000 gyro. So anyways, that's what my workbird is there. I have a double-sided sticky taped in here. It's about 20 degrees, and it's literally just 2 pieces double-sided sticky tape. I've got a little spike absorber there inside there and a cap, but other than that, it's pretty much as you see it. And this is a very similar build, except it's an Evo and it's not a dead cat. So this is like my quote-unquote like everything goes bird, freestyle, whatever. I just throw a GoPro on this thing and send it. This is the one that I was flying in the drone, or the video with the Porsche, when I was flying around just crashing. And these are the same motors and everything from that particular flight. So we'll go over it quickly. Again, it's an Evo with an O4 just double-sided sticky taped in there. These are V6 prototypes. I've got some Mango Lassis on there. This is, again, an Evo Impulse RC frame with tracer on it, and I'm running an O4 air unit with an O3 air unit cap here. This is the antenna, and I just have it, what is it called? E6000 around the edge here. This is a print that I got from Phantom FPV. Keeps everything super low profile. The video problem, I have no issues with the video, so yeah, video is not a problem with the O3 air unit antenna as far as range. And then again, FetTech 45 amp, and this has got a G4 flight controller in it, but it's running the old school KISS firmware as well. Again, MPU 6000. Now, this is something hilarious. We call it the GPR in the space of TBS and Trappy. This is like the long range aircraft that I have. It's like some super cheap aircraft that really is difficult to build. But it's O4 and it runs lithium ions, which I'll get to in a minute when we talk about batteries. But it flies for like 15-20 minutes cruising around, and you just have an O4 in there and you record on board, and yeah, you're good to go. And you can send it super freaking far away, and I got LEDs on this one, so that's kind of a cool build as well. It's very, very annoying to build, but when it's done, it's cool. And then we'll talk about like batteries and charging and tools, and then pretty much we'll be done. So as far as batteries these days, Thunder Power. I was using Thunder Powers for a really long time, the 1300, the lunar landers. Recently, in the last 4 or 5 months, I've been talking with SMC, and we got some prototype 1100s right here that I'm working with, and we got 14 and 1600s. These are their, I forget what they call them. What do you call them? The race series. There's like an acronym that I can't remember, but anyways, this is a 1600 and this is a 1400. These batteries are phenomenal, and the 1100 should be really nice too when it comes out, because it's nice and light. And yeah, so those are the batteries that I'm running lithium wise, or lithium polymer wise. And then I've got some Upgrade Energy lithium ions here. These are like 4S freaking crazy amp hour, 3000 amp or 3 amp hour, and this one I think is a 5000. Yeah, so these are big boys. These are meant to fly on this, and again, depending on the place and the altitude, you can fly pretty far away with these. And this is some custom thing that Kofi made for me that I had to sneak through customs, so I stuck some battery stickers on it from another battery. As far as the charger, this is the ETHiX like D6 Pro, which is just kind of a basic charger. This is the one I take with me when I'm on the road. When I'm at home, I use that charger for some batteries, and I use my iCharger 406 Duo right there if I really want to charge something quick. I always charge in parallel. I'm sure that's a crazy controversial thing, but I can do a video on the parallel charging situation. I've never had a problem parallel charging, and I've been doing this for over a decade. So as long as you just kind of check your batteries and you know what you're doing, parallel charging can be very safe. And here is the little battery checker that I like. I don't know, even ISDT makes it. And then we got our heated LiPo bag, and I keep a smoke stopper in there, and I've got one of these little Speedy Bee things if I need to charge something USB-C in the field like my phone. Yeah, other than that, I have a Amazon special 6-port 2 amp each output for USB, and I just plug that into the wall. It can handle 120 volts or 240 or whatever you're doing, so just as long as you have an adapter for it, you can plug it into wherever in the world and it will work. I have a GoPro chesty that I use for like chest chest video if I need, and here are some of the straps for the mini chesty, which you can configure to be exactly like the regular chesty and have a, you know, a strap for your radio and all kinds of stuff like that. And as far as my toolkit goes, I have the ETHiX toolkit, which has a 1.5, 2, 2.5, and a Phillips and a flathead. You can interchange, like undo it here and it flips out. And then I carry these guys here, which are a really nice tool. I don't remember who makes them, but yeah, Knipix. So anyways, that's a pretty cool tool. And a TS100, a pair of dikes, and some Allens and a file in there. And that's kind of how I roll with this. And I travel with all this stuff. I've been all over the world with it. So as long as you check this internationally, you're good. Everything else I just bring with me on the plane. I've never had an issue. Even in some crazy countries, they just look at it. I mean, obviously, if you go to a country where it's illegal to bring drones in, they may confiscate it at the door, but I was just in Japan, I was just in Hong Kong, I was in all these different places, and they didn't even bat an eye at it. So, yeah, it's cool. And long story short, with the MPU 6000 stuff, oh, I didn't mention the flight controller on this aircraft. This aircraft actually has, oh no, this one's MPU 6000 on a FetTech situation. I have another aircraft that I'm using that's got some beta flight stuff on it that I've been playing with. Where is it? Anyways, I'll make a video about that because since I don't really have any set sponsors anymore and I can kind of do whatever I want, I just do what I like. Which is ultimately what I've always done, but now the sponsors that thought I was cool back in the day that I reached out to and just ended up using their products originally, and then they ended up giving them to me for free. I could probably get free products now, but I don't really care to get free. I can buy whatever I need to buy. But the cool part is now it's kind of like the old days. Like, I don't do stuff unless I just want to do it, which is kind of cool, because there was times there where you're like, yeah, I've been flying this for a long time and there hasn't really been any updates, and it's kind of annoying. There's like other companies out there pushing. There hasn't been a lot of crazy advancements in the last 5 years in drones, so I'm just still having fun flying what I can fly. And people are always like, well, why don't you fly anything new? You fly this analog stuff. It's like, it does what it needs to do for me, and I obviously have no problem doing what I need to do with that equipment. So if it's an equipment problem, then it's probably a pilot problem, because I'm using a decade-old technology and it seems to work pretty decently for me. There are certain cases where I have like specialized drones where I need to maybe build like a 7-inch to carry something bigger, or I need to run like a ducted aircraft right there, or I need to run something small that's naked, or a heavy lift like cine lifter drone. There are special use cases for everything, but for the most part, like, I use these drones right here for predominantly everything that I'm doing commercially and just for having fun, which is kind of ultimately how I started and how I will continue to do this YouTube channel. Is just for fun, because it doesn't make any money.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
And I started this channel to document me having fun, so that was really what I should get back to doing, because there was a time there where I felt obligated to make videos, and then now I'm kind of like, I don't want to make videos because I have to. I want to make them because I want to. And yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully be posting more soon. Thank you guys. Happy 4th of July. And for the rest of the world, happy day, because it's 4th of July. Bye.